You're going to want to make 100 of these. It's the paper scrap project that I can't stop making. These are paper tassels. I'm Ingrid Carlsen, and I am so happy that you're here with me today. This is an old project, one that I used to do all the time when I used to send out Happy Mail to friends, and I thought I'd bring it back from the archives and teach you how to make your very own today. And like I said at the beginning, you're going to want to make so many of these. There's so many different color variations, style variations, and the sky really is the limit. And if you love projects that are simple and fast and come together very quickly, then this is right up your alley. These are so much fun to make, but the best part is you can make a ton of them quickly. The only thing that I think you would get is maybe a little strain on your hand from cutting, but this is a great project to do while you're watching a movie or you are waiting for paint to dry, in the middle of different projects, and you can have a whole bowl of these. Think of how beautiful that would look in your space. We're going to start off by cutting rectangles out that measure 2 inches by 10 inches. The other really great thing about this project is that you can make them whatever size you want. Doesn't have to be 2 inches, so have fun here and just play around, make your own, and maybe you like them shorter and chunkier or longer and leaner. It's really up to you. I'm going to go down about half an inch from the top, and I'm going to mark that all the way across. This is going to be my cut line. So as you're seeing here, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut up the tassel part up to that line. That assures that I don't go too far up, and it gives the tassel that solid top piece that makes it perfect. Something that I've learned is that the thinner you cut your strips of paper, the kind of frillier your tassel will be. That being said, you can also alternate throughout the tassel. You can start off making your cuts a little wider and then eventually get down smaller. Because remember, the smaller ones will be the ones that you see towards the top, giving it that frilly look. Taking something that's rounded like I'm doing here with this paintbrush, and I'm kind of curling it like ribbon. You want to be very careful here because I know from experience that the paper can definitely break on you. Also, I didn't mention this before, but I am printing on 110-pound cardstock. I've also tried this method with copy paper as well as thinner cardstock, and it all worked wonderfully. Now, when you are making your like ribbon curls, you don't want to go too aggressive, but what you're doing here is you're breaking down the fiber so that it allows you to start rolling the paper a lot easier. And I'm going to use my tweezers here to assist me in rolling it. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you, as you're turning your paper, you're pulling it taut so that it is tight within the roll. I'm going to show you several methods of decorating the tassels, starting with the easiest, and that is just adding some hot glue into the center of the tassel and taking some twine, looping it over into the hot glue. I'm going to hold it there in place for just a second so that it solidifies and gets sturdy, and look, just like that, it's done. Super cute. Imagine this on the spine of a journal, or maybe even dangling off the front of your journal. For the next demonstrations that I'm going to show you, I'm actually pulling out some of this wire, and I believe this is from the garden section at Dollar Tree, but you can use your jewelry wire if you have some. And I'm going to go ahead and make a loop kind of like an eye pin and leave the other piece completely straight. I'm going to do the same as I did with the first tassel and I'm just going to roll it using my tweezers. This is a really great method using the tweezers. It really helps you to get in tight and to have it stay. But you're going to see like this one is a lot less tight than the first one and it still worked out perfectly. Then I'm going to run the wire through the bottom and attach it using some hot glue to stay in place. I'm going to add a bead that's also going to cement in that glue and then add another the same way. Then I'm going to finish it off by adding a loop at the top and then just winding the rest of the wire that I have around that little top part, and that's it. Look at how adorable this tassel is. I'm going to start off this tassel just a little differently, and that is I'm still using the tweezers, but I'm actually pulling them out and then rolling, pulling them out and rolling. This is going to allow a space in the center, so if I want to string something in there, it's going to be a lot easier. I think that at the end, it's between this one and the very last one that I make that are my absolute favorites. And I'd love to know what your thoughts are. But I absolutely love this paper, and you can be looking out for it to come out in a kit very soon. When I'm working with the wire, I like to add a loop at the bottom, and this is going to anchor it from coming out of the tassel, the center of the tassel. But I also like to add a little bit of hot glue in there as well. This just ensures that it's not going to go anywhere. I've been holding on to this bead for a very long time, waiting for the perfect project, and I think that I found it. I am smitten in love with this bead or this tassel. It is so sweet, and I can't wait to put it on the front of one of my journals. My last tassel starts off exactly the same way as the others, and I don't think I mentioned this before, but I am adding some art glitter glue sporadically as I'm turning to make sure that my tassel stays put and it doesn't unravel. A couple of differences with this last tassel is I made sure that at the bottom of the wire for this one, I made it extra big. So I wound it up so that it had a bigger base like circle at the bottom so that it would definitely not come through the top. I also used a charm, and this really just kind of opens the avenue of the possibilities that you could add more dangles here. You can add a lobster claw, you can add an I mean, really, whatever you want to do, you can definitely treat this as a piece of jewelry and start creating. The other thing that I did is, as you notice, the tassels all have the top part of the tassel is flat. That was the ½ inch piece that we didn't cut through. And sometimes I like adding a little ribbon, and you're going to see here, I'm going to add this beautiful gingham ribbon that I've cut in half, and it just takes it up to the next level. I think that this one is definitely at the top of my list of favorites, and I am always a sucker for black and white with pink. Make sure that you stay through to the end because I'm going to show you some examples of ones that I made off camera and give you a couple of more ideas of different things that you can do for your tassels. I also want to remind you today that you are worthy. You are important. You matter. Your voice matters and it deserves to be heard. You deserve to be seen, and you are loved unconditionally, my friend. These are just a few examples of ones that I've made that I wanted to share with you so that you can get some ideas. I also wanted to show you that you can also fluff up your tassel just like you would a fabric tassel. So I'm just going in with my fingers and kind of spreading out the little tassel pieces or the cut strips, and you see how it made it fluffier and gave it more movement. Also here on this one, you can see that I've covered the top part. I like to cover the top part because it then kind of gives away that the top piece that's not cut, and also it gives me an excuse to use up my pretty laces. I think this is one of my favorite ones though, and I took a paintbrush with some gold paint and I made it look like it had been dipped in gold, and I absolutely love the way that this came out. Then at the top portion I added some gold as well, and I took this bead that just had a little bit of twine just like this one and elevated it just a little bit. I absolutely love that, and I'm actually thinking about maybe adding some gold to other ones. This is a perfect project for you to make when you have scraps. And as a matter of fact, if you have kits that you've bought, whether it's for me or maybe even scrapbook paper pads that you have, and let's say it's a paper that you don't love all the way, or maybe you do love it but you didn't use it, this is a great way to use it up and then be able to coordinate with the journal that you've made, because the papers match and you're getting to use all of your product. I also really love the look of this one. First off, from using a rectangular bead and then that little charm at the top. It's just so sweet. And I kind of feel like these tassels mimic a dress, like the bottom of an A-line dress, and they are just so charming. But this one definitely steals the show for me. I love the paper. I love the ribbon. I love the beads. I love them all. And I'd love to know, oh, this one too. So those are still definitely my two favorites, even watching the video back. But I'd love to know which one your favorite was. And if you have any ideas that I didn't maybe show here that you would like to share with us. And I want to thank you so much for being here. I hope that this video inspired you to go make something today. Make a small project like this that'll just take a couple of minutes and it'll give you instant gratification. Thank you again for being here. I love you. Until next time. Bye.